Yes guys, what's going on? Welcome to AdamMcKola TV. We are back. It is Monday, so we are here with the newspapers to go through the back pages and of course have a cuppa as we look through all the latest Premier League news. It is of course the Premier League Gazette, and for the last few weeks and months we've been looking at the news of when football is going to return, Project Restart latest and all that good stuff, finding out just what's going on in the Premier League meetings and updates on when this lockdown will be lifted. Of course, no football fans are going to be able to go to any games, but we know football is returning this month in a matter of days, just over 2 weeks to go, 15 days to go. It's very close to football being back now, so we'll find out all the latest football news as we gear up for a return to Premier League football. And we of course see the back pages filled with those pictures of Jadon Sancho and Marcus Thuram, obviously showing their support for the protests against police brutality and the things that we've seen going on around the world in the last couple of days. Well, I say last couple of days, it's been going on forever, hasn't it? And it's of course something that we hope isn't just going to be on our screens and our back pages for a couple of days and then forgotten about again until another murder occurs and things like that. So hopefully this is a sign of things to come. We've seen Marcus Rashford standing up and speaking up today as well and tweeting his thoughts on the situation, and it's great to see footballers, young black men seeing that they are able to make their voices heard and stand up and make their voices heard. A lot of them would probably feel scared to be able to do that. They would feel pressured against doing that. But it's great to see a lot of them doing it and coming out and standing up and making their voices heard. Even though this is something that's going on in America, it's something that people see around the world on a daily basis. So it's great to see these guys standing up and making a statement, and footballers, and not just footballers, sportsmen, everyone kind of uniting at the moment. Long may that continue, and hopefully it's not just something that's on social media and hashtags and things like that for a couple of days and then forgotten about again. Hopefully some real change can come of it, although obviously that's very difficult to do and it's going to be a long slog until that happens, but fingers crossed it continues and the fight continues. Anyway, let's get stuck into these back pages, look at some of the sports news and find out just what's going on in the world of the Premier League. Make sure you're liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing to AdamMcKola TV as well. And of course, just like Utd Lastborn, who became a member in the last couple of days, make sure you're joining the channel as well. We've hit 65 members. We want to hit 100 by the end of this month. Can you help us? Hit that join button. You'll get exclusive content. You've got 2 videos in the last couple of months as well, so they're already up. You can check them out. You get exclusive content. You can join the Discord. You get bonuses on the channel, and you help support the channel and the growth of the channel as well. So get hitting that join button if you can. But for now, let's get stuck into these back pages. That was said, as you can see on the back page of The Guardian right here. We've got Jadon Sancho and Marcus Thuram they're saluting George Floyd after their scoring in the weekend's football in Germany. And it's great to see that. And Marco Rose, the Mönchengladbach manager, stood up for him as well and said Thuram cut to the chase. He took a stand against racism, one that we wholeheartedly support. And it's great to see all the clubs and things backing their players doing that as well. Over here it says bottom clubs set to oppose relegation using points per game. Premier League sides fighting relegation are expected to oppose the implementation of a points per game formula if COVID-19 forces the Premier League to be suspended again. While the league is aiming to finalise plans around Project Restart on Thursday, so we'll hear the full list of fixtures and things like that then. One pressing issue is which teams should be relegated if the season is halted for a second time. Clubs in the bottom 6 believe it would be unfair to use a mathematical formula to decide relegation, especially as some teams fighting survival have more inviting run-ins than others. So obviously there has to be some sort of, okay, what if football is halted again? What would happen then? And it looks like some clubs are saying, look, if we go ahead with this and football is called off again, you can't be relegating us on a points per game basis. I'd expect there'd be some lawsuits and things that would arise from that as well. Moving on from that, in the Guardian's having a quiet one. We've got some snooker in the middle at the moment. What else is going on? Rugby league here, football here. What's going on here then? See, not a lot about Liverpool here. Does anyone really want to know about Liverpool and all that kind of stuff? Speaking about Sadio Mane and all them things. England's first World Cup adventure was the voyage of the dam. In 1950, a squad featuring Matthew Finning, Manion Mortensen and Milburn was presented as certain to win the finals in Brazil, but what followed was calamitous. That's usually the case for England at World Cup tournaments and things like that, innit? Moving on from The Guardian, clearly a quiet news day for those guys, but great to see Jadon Sancho's celebration getting some back pages. The back page of the Express here is obviously one of those ones again in support of the NHS, and I got 20% discount in store at Iceland, which isn't bad at all. Keen on Howard's way, Toffee's defender desperate to emulate Howard Kendall's great team and end a long wait for a trophy. Do you think Carlo Ancelotti can win a trophy for Everton? I think possibly could do you know what I mean? He's a very good manager. They've possibly got, you know, a top 3 manager in the Premier League at the moment, and this is Everton we're talking about. So I think he's probably someone that could win them a cup. Whether he could push them on to win the league or anything like that is you know, a long way off, but they seemingly have the money there to be spent. So if they could continue some sort of growth under Carlo Ancelotti, get European football in the next campaign, and then push on from there, you never know where they can take him, because he's a very talented manager who's been around the block an awfully lot. Odion Ighalo lands new deal inside the Daily Express as well, and obviously this was confirmed today, which is why the Premier League Gazette is late today, because we went live earlier on today when the Premier League Gazette usually would have been released to discuss the breaking news regarding Odion Ighalo, but they had that in the newspaper here as well, saying Odion Ighalo was winning his battle to stay at Manchester United after agreeing to a new loan deal. The Nigerian will extend his stay until 2021 after United said they would pay a revised loan fee to Shanghai Shenhua. Ighalo joined in January from the Chinese super club outfit, and the terms of the original deal had been due to expire last night. Obviously, it did expire last night, but we've now got him until January. And the interesting thing is as well, if we wanted to sign him, the transfer window would be open, so we'd be able to sign him in January if we really wanted to keep him. But nevertheless, it's good to get another 6 or so months out of him, and hopefully he can continue to contribute to success at Manchester United. There's some stuff on the MLS on the inside of the newspaper, and Sancho's hat-trick message. England ace threw his weight behind the Black Lives Matter movement last night as football sent out a powerful message of solidarity. We can't just pretend this is an American problem as well. I have no doubt if the police here had guns, we'd see a lot of issues the same way over here, and we still do see a lot of issues the same way over here. So it's obviously a worldwide issue that is amplified and magnified in America, and they're obviously nutcases over there, some of the police. Moving on again, the Mirror Sport. You've got here Jadon's a hat-trick hero. Brave England star sends out powerful anti-racism message to the world as he scores 3. Fantastic to see them doing that. I reiterate that again. Rebel clubs outvoted as championship gets go-ahead. At least 3 rebel clubs were forced to bow to the will of the majority last night as the championship confirmed it would be restarting on June the 20th. I love the championship. So great news to hear that's coming back as well. If the Premier League's getting confirmed, we have to get obviously confirmation from the second tier in England as well. Premier League clubs will hold talks today on whether to allow the Mersey derby to be played at Goodison after the region's top cop backed the plan. So obviously they're trying to get the game to go ahead at Goodison Park. It could be a dangerous one, obviously. Liverpool going to win the league, that's pretty sure. The bastards have deserved it. But whether they, you know, are able to play those games in Liverpool is another story, because I'm sure a lot of Liverpool fans would travel to outside the game. You can't stop that, do you know what I mean? Especially when you've got fucking you know, advisors to the PM travelling up and down the country and all these things, and lockdown being eased and that. People are going to think it's safe to do that. Rodgers remains quietly confident. Leicester City are giving themselves a silent treatment in their quest for a Champions League slot. Now, they were kind of in free fall just before the break, so the break's probably come at a good time for them. They're planning a series of behind closed doors friendly to get used to the hush of empty grounds when Premier League action returns. They're preparing, and they're still in with a shout at the Champions League, aren't they, to be totally honest. I'm not saying they're not. Here we've got sport by sport guide to coming out of lockdown. I would read all of that, but we know football's coming on very soon in terms of English football. What else have we got going on in this newspaper? More from Michael Keane, which I'm sure we don't want to hear about. More on Jadon Sancho as well. Nothing on his transfer, but that's good that his shirt is grabbing all the headlines. Schweinsteiger saying he wants to be a boss. He's retired from playing in 2019 when he left Chicago Fire. If something interesting was to come up that I would enjoy, I'd think about it. But whenever I do something, I want to win and achieve something. Obviously, you're going to have to start on another level, ain't you? Really. And that is it really for the newspapers today. Not a lot going on in there at all. Not on the back pages anyway. As I'm sure global events take on a lot more importance. But there is a story I wanted to talk about, which was in the Independent, which was that Manchester United are monitoring Raheem Sterling's current situation. Now, this is a very, very interesting one, obviously, but I'd just like to have a look at what they're actually saying. So I've got the article up here, and what's said is more intriguing. It's in the middle of an article, but in the Independent by Miguel Delaney, and it says more intriguing is one name suddenly high up in priority, and who in the analytics department have been working on. That is Raheem Sterling. Nobody sees the player as any way likely to go to Manchester United, so what's the point of writing this? But some do feel it is a reflection of the relative uncertainty around his future if Man City's Champions League ban is upheld. In other words, if he becomes available, United will go for him. However, if he is still much likelier to go to Real Madrid if he does leave City. So basically, United are monitoring the situation of Raheem Sterling. Now, I have no doubt scouting departments, analytics departments, teams will look at players and think, is he going to be available? Could we possibly get him? But we'd be the last team Man City would sell him to. They wouldn't sell him to us. If they have to sell him because we've got no Champions League football, they're not going to suddenly think, oh yeah, we'll take money from Man United. And they're not going to do that. They'll take less money from another club. He's a lot more likely to go abroad. And I can't see that one happening. So even though it may have cropped up in meetings or it may have popped up on a scouting team, I doubt it's something that anyone is looking at seriously. And if you consider we may be signing someone like Jadon Sancho, can you then turn around and say we could fit Raheem Sterling into the team and he'd start every single game, when in the wider positions you'd probably have Rashford and Sancho starting? Is he an alternative to Jadon Sancho? Is he someone that we're possibly just thinking, yo, that could be a big power move? And we've seen where those power moves have got us before when trying to, you know, fuck around, like just get players because we don't want City to have them. So I wouldn't read too much into it. I'd take it with a pinch of salt, and I wouldn't expect Raheem Sterling to be rocking up in a United shirt anytime soon. But guys, thank you for tuning into the Premier League Gazette. Been an absolute pleasure having a chit chat and having a read through the newspapers with you today. Make sure you're keeping it locked, you're liking, you're commenting, you're sharing, you're subscribing and joining if you can. And for now, I've been AdamMcKola. I'm out of here.